Kathy has been quite strict. She wanted me to just do this ad-lib. She said she prefers me ad-libbing. But quite frankly, my brains are going a little bit on the twist. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to read it to you. God help you. Here we go. It's called The CP of N. It was something that happened to me in 1951. Now, here we go. I'd spent a contemplative afternoon at the Royal Academy, but after hours of standing and shuffling with the crowd of viewers, I urgently needed a limber up. I strode along Piccadilly towards Green Park, then for no reason at all turned right into Berkeley Street. I'd only strolled a few yards when the large cairngorm brooch holding my scarf in place, a bit like this thing, fell to the pavement. Well, I stooped down to retrieve it and straightened up slowly and found that the clip of my jewel was broken. I put it safely in my bag, glancing at the splendid gleaming glass doorway on my right. Then I looked again. I wondered why the door seemed so strangely familiar. Well, my mind backflipped half a century. I'd indeed been here before, facing the same entrance, but not as a passing visitor, but as a nervous 18-year-old about to start work on the other side of these impressive doors. A week before, I'd auditioned for a job as cocktail bar pianist at this same building, the famous Empress Club. I'd had no previous experience, but was offered the job as I could play most of the show tunes of past and present, you know, Gershwin, Kern and the rest, alternating with popular classics. Well, I'm sure I was chosen over more experienced ladies, but because of my youthful good looks and enthusiasm, I got the job, rather than because of any musical expertise. I travelled by tube train to Green Park Station for my first night, hoping I was suitably dressed. You know, a full-skirted, I think it's called the New Look black dress. I thought I looked good. Tottered slightly on my high-heeled patent shoes. Hesitated at the entrance until a top-hatted uniformed gentleman beckoned me inside the lobby. I explained my reason for loitering outside. Extremely nervous, he preceded me to my new job, patted my shoulder like a kind uncle, led me up a curving marble staircase to another gilded doorway. We entered a vast room of, to me, unbelievable luxury. There were deep windows at the farthest end of the room, reflected the sparkling chandeliers hanging from a domed ceiling. A white grand piano sat waiting for me, framed by urns of tropical plants and a backdrop of mirrored wall, a veritable throne room awaiting its queen. A sea of crimson carpet muffled all movement. My future boss emerged from behind a long marble bar with every known bottled elixir. He greeted me warmly. "Nice to have you here with us," he said. "Call me Sid, everybody else does." He began to explain the cunning rules of the club game and our parts in it. "All you have to do, love, is play for 3/4 of an hour, take 15 minutes break, 3 hours of labour and you're free. Our visitors will always offer you a drink in traditional fashion and you will tell them that you only drink champagne." I blurted out, "But I don't drink anything as a rule." "Don't worry, love," Sid assured me. "All you get will be a tinted lemonade in a champagne flute." "But that would be cheating, wouldn't it?" I said. "Not really," Sid answered. "It's all a game. Everyone here knows the rules. But they get broken sometimes. No harm's done, love. Don't worry." I wanted a piano. It was a Blutner. And tried it out. It was perfect. Glancing behind me through the windows, I could see family life, Mayfair style, through other windows. The only sound, the low grumble of slow-moving traffic along Piccadilly. I was reminded of clattering through tunnels from Barons Court to Holborn Station during the Blitz. An 8-year-old tugging a 4-year-old sister, laying out sleeping bags on the platform with crowds of cheerful Londoners welcoming us in. I was jolted back to the present, began playing tunes from the great Broadway musicals. As people began to arrive in the room, ordering drinks from white-jacketed barmen, generating a quiet hum of conversation. From time to time, I received discreet applause. The flutes of lemon tinto became ranged like a troop of guardsmen on my side table. Sid was pleased by my modest success, and I was overjoyed on receipt of my first pay packet. A present from Mother. During these early days, I was frequently invited by clients to join them at their tables and became adept at refusing invitations to join them in their hotel suites. Sid and the waiters were at first bemused by my spinsterish behaviour. Soon realised that I was solely a pianist and not a part-time hooker. I said they treated me from then on with great respect. The following week, on arriving at the club, the usually relaxed ambience was charged with frenetic activity. Sid was in Sergeant Major mode, rattling off staccato orders. Chop, chop, you lot need a dozen extra chairs for the sergeant. Now, right now. And pointed to several unadorned tables, bellowing, roses, roses, more candles. Christ, brighten the place up, for Christ's sake. Book looks like a funeral parlour. I assumed that royalty were expected, got out of scuttling waiters' paths, finding a peaceful haven on the piano stool. A momentary lull gave everyone time to adjust their uniforms, untidy their dishevelled hair. Sid gave a tense order. Doors, doors, now, he yelled, sending the waiters rushing to hold open the great oak doors. Well, it could well be the Pope, I thought, but I was wrong. A large group of rainbow-robed Indian ladies, escorted by distinguished men, wandered into the room. At the head of this exotic crowd was a small man, made taller by a white silk turban encrusted with sparkling jewels. He was escorted by two handsome Pathan guards, turbaned and resplendent in military uniforms. Sid bowed and scraped obsequiously. I'd never seen him in humble mode before. The crowd took their seats around a central table where the small gentleman sat enthroned at the head. I assumed he was a Maharaja of some Indian state, as his two guards remained persistently behind him, standing to attention, eyes riveted on a distant Himalayan horizon. Champagne flowed, corks popped, canapes disappeared magically from silver salvers, whilst I played anything that came to mind. Sid brought me personally a flute of champagne, no lemo tinto this time, with the compliments of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince of Nepal, he whispered reverently in my ear. Well, my assessment was wrong. The honoured client was no run-of-the-mill Raja. He was the future king of literally the most elevated throne in the world, Nepal. I now understood why Sid had been whirling around like a dervish, and the usually cheery waiters behaving like His Majesty's lowliest subjects. The illustrious party left the club, faithfully following their lord, and I played on until midnight. Sid was very pleased with his team's good work, and I left the club glowing with his praise. Following evening, I played for about half an hour when the doors swung open, held by the two Pathan guards, and unheralded, the CP of N, that's what I called him from then on, came in and seated himself at the table nearest to the piano. One of the guards came over, handing me a card requesting my presence at his master's table when I next took a break. Sid beamed at me from behind the bar, nodding vigorously as I moved from piano to the prince's table. I was beginning to enjoy the champagne, certainly more than the earlier fake glasses I'd been subjected to. The prince began our conversation in the usual vein, insisted that I dine with him or join him for lunch the next day. I excused myself by alluding to a steady boyfriend, non-existent, waiting patiently in the wings. He accepted my excuses graciously and ordered champagne, commencing to talk about his happy days as a Cambridge undergrad and making me feel totally at ease. I'd never experienced such exotic charm before and began to enjoy our conversations. I made him laugh with tales of a misspent youth at St Paul's School and told him what life was like in London during the Blitz. For he was knowledgeable on a variety of subjects: English history, Mughal Empire, the slave trade, Alexander's conquests. Well, one evening he arrived with a map, which he spread out on the table. On this, together we traced the route from Mongolia by Genghis Khan and his hordes. His opinions were frequently at odds with mine, because I'd been going to do history at Oxford. But arrangements and arguments we engaged in were as entertaining as the more hilarious discussions. The second week of his visit commenced in a totally different manner. My reaction was one of puzzled naivety. As I played piano, one of his ADCs approached me, hands extended, bearing a black leather box. His Highness congratulates you on your talents and begs you to accept this humble gift. He bowed, retreated, leaving me to open the box. It contained an exquisite emerald and diamond bracelet, nestling on green velvet. Even I understood the magic insignia Cartier embossed inside the lid of this mini Pandora's box. I glanced at the sepia then, smiled at his quizzical expression, then went on playing. Sid served me champagne, peeked at the box on the piano top and hissed at me, "Put it on your wrist, for God's sake. You'll be insulted if you don't." "I can't accept it," I asked. "Not obliged to take gifts from anyone, even if they are someone." Well, the CPFM was unperturbed by my returning the present. The evening passed in our usual fashion, animated chat on a variety of topics, overlooked by statuesque guards and an irate Sid fuming behind the bar. Subsequent evenings followed a similar pattern, with one notable exception. The boxes grew bigger and the contents more temptingly beautiful. Bracelets plus earrings. Bracelet, necklace, earrings, always a small addition to an already impressive collection. I was fully aware that these baubles meant nothing to His Highness, although my possession of them could have kick-started my life in financial terms. In dreary post-war London, a young woman's respectability and reputation were paramount if one hoped to achieve a successful marriage. Accepting presents from essentially a stranger was definitely not on. I returned each gift with smiling gratitude, and realised that the CPFN was now highly amused at observing the reactions of the staff in general and Sid in particular. "You must be a woman of great inner wealth to reject such treasures." Inner wealth was all I had. I still needed my weekly wage. On his final night, he told me of growing up in the Himalayas and home life at the palace. I was fascinated and sad at the thought of his departure. "As none of my humble offerings pleased you," he said, "I have another idea which might please you more. I would like to give you a house in Kathmandu. You can visit whenever you wish, bring family and friends, but on one condition." "What's that?" I asked, thinking the obvious. "That I can continue our discussions whenever I am free from duties at the court," he replied. He explained why I never made this proposition to anyone before. "I'm blessed with over 100 beautiful ladies in my harem and my wives and children, but when I am there, the only conversation I have concerns affairs of state. I am bored to death most of the time. I haven't had a chance to be bored here with a formidable opponent to joust with. Mental stimulation is more necessary to me than all the rest, and for that I thank you." As we said goodbye, shaking hands, I felt like curtsying with gratitude for his praise. I promised to consider his proposal and said I would write. I never did, but suffer nostalgic twinges half a century later when passing emerald and diamond jewellery on display in Burlington Arcade, recalling a sparkling turban and my prim rejections of a kind offer. My proposed haven in Kathmandu would probably have been targeted and destroyed simultaneously with the massacre of the entire Nepalese royal family by rebels on June the 2nd, 2001. I remember the news flash. Nepal's royal family slain in rebel massacre. June 2nd, 2001. If not that, what about the recent earthquake? Thank you.